This is a fabulous recipe. One of John's new favourites, actually.
Had it last night.
So, what we'll do first up is just do the onion. Actually,
more onions.
More onions, yes. This is lucky, Caroline.
No way.
Okay. Alright, so we're going to with the onion.
Exposure.
And we've got our celery, just some finely diced celery. Yep. Okay, we're going to spice it up a little. So, we'll put the mushrooms in as well.
Sorry, which one are you making?
Oh, this is the mushroom loaf. Okay, now I'm using Swiss browns for this loaf. So most of them are chopped up, but if you haven't seen a Swiss brown before, they really are quite brown. And they're just sort of tastier, a little bit kind of meatier textured than the regular onions. So in they go, we'll chop this little guy as well.
Is that the only place you can get red rice? Honest to goodness?
Try Asian groceries. They often have red and black rice. Yeah. Okay. And let's go in there and some more stuff. So we've got some of the famous Dr. Furman's veggie zest.
Yes.
It's coming, ladies. It's coming. It's good. Slowly, but it will get here. Okay. And some paprika. I'm using the sweet or mild paprika this time. And some basil or basil if you're in America.
No oregano.
Oregano. Oh yeah, oregano. Okay. There's our yeah, here's the oregano, folks. So why do we use herbs and spices in cooking? Did you turn that down, Mitch?
So they have
Just
flavour
take a look.
and antioxidants.
Yeah, flavour and antioxidants, absolument. Okay. And we've got some thyme here as well. Yeah, so it's a good mix of herby flavours here. And I'm just going to put a small amount of water in here. The mushrooms sweat quite a lot, so we don't need to use a lot of water here. Now, of course, no Thermomix, just do this, just do a water saute in the frying pan like you would normally. Well, I've already cooked the brown rice using that same absorption method that I used with the red rice. So that's just regular medium grain brown rice. And the oats I whisked up in my thermi before. So is everyone okay with oats? No one has it? Yep, excellent. Okay. Yeah, otherwise rolled rice or rolled quinoa will do the trick beautifully.
So they've just been put in the
Yeah, I just gave them a very quick go in the Thermomix, and of course you can do it in the food processor, or if you've got a nut mill or something like that, they'll do it beautifully.
Did you ask about oats because of gluten contamination?
Yes. Yes.
So because you don't know where the oats have come from.
That's right. So I mean, oats don't actually have gluten in themselves, in the oats themselves, as you probably know, but they're often processed in facilities that handle gluten-containing grains, so they handle that contamination here. Okay. So what we've got now is some delightfully herby mushrooms and celery. Yeah. Smells good. So, yeah. Okay. Now I'm just going to pop that into a bowl and do the tofu. So remember in the first week we used no, sorry, it was actually last week, wasn't it? We used the firm tofu to make the eggplant and lentil loaf. Well, this recipe requires a softer textured tofu. So this one here is the silken firm tofu.
Yeah.
Okay. So otherwise known as soft tofu, but often, you know, when you've got see this in the shops, it's silken firm. Sometimes just labelled as firm tofu. So you don't want the silken that's really squishy, but this one, as you can see, it's got a fair amount of liquid in there. Yeah, I'm just going to drain that out actually. So Yeah, we don't want too
Is
much.
it like an egg white? Is it
Virtually, yes.
firmer then or?
Yeah,
something
yeah. Well, it's, as you can see, it kind of wobbles like
Oh,
jelly.
okay.
Okay? So, alright, I'll pop that in, silk and tofu in with, and this tapioca, or arrowroot tapioca flour, will help it firm up. As you'll see when I make this mixture, it is a fairly moist mixture, and the arrowroot helps it firm up while it's being baked. So we've got, and of course this is gluten free as well. So we're going to pop that in there with the water. Just got 4 tablespoons of water in here. Is it a quickie?
blending it.
So we've got the omega-3s, we've got all the minerals in the walnuts, and just that yummy taste. Okay, so here's our mix, and now it's just put it all together. So, pop the oats in. And the rice, of course you can use, if you wanted to use the red rice or even black rice in this loaf, go right ahead and do that. Because I had 2 dishes with rice today, I wanted to do one with brown and one with red. But any of the nutritious rices, in other words, don't use white rice. Okay.
In terms of flavour, does red rice have a distinct flavour?
Oh
like
yes, it
brown rice?
does. It does. It's quite, how would you describe it, Mitch?
It's nutty.
It is nuttier than the brown, I find. Yeah, I really enjoy red rice. Okay. All we've got to do is mix it up. And as you can see, you know, when I first made this, I looked at the texture and thought, heavens above, you know, that is never going to firm up. It's just so moist. But it does, it firms up beautifully.
Is it the arrowroot that
Yes,
sets it?
largely.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so I've got all the spices mixed in nicely there, and that's just going to go in my loaf pan. Which, as always, I just line with baking paper because it's so much easier to get it out when you finish, and the washing up is easier.
And John thanks you.
Oh yes, the chief washer-upper is always grateful when I use baking paper. Okay. And if my dog could, he'd be getting stuck into this bowl right now and licking it clean. We won't do that. Certainly not on camera.
Where's Imogen?
She's very quiet, isn't she? She's actually on reading it downstairs.
She's playing a chocolate game.
Okay. She was on reading things.
It was.
Finished.
Okay, so okay, so because of the moisture in that recipe, we're using a fairly low temperature, but baking it for a long time. So it's 1 hour and 15 at 160. Mushroom loaf is done, and as you can see, remember that mixture that looked too wet to ever have a hope of setting? Well, it sets beautifully, just with that low temperature and long baking time. So I'm just going to leave it to sit there for a while. It does cut better if you just kind of let it rest. It needs to rest, that's right, it's had a very hard day. It's very nicely set now. And quite easy to slice. So if you would like to just hand your empty bowls. There we go. And hang on there a tick. Actually, if you try it without the shiitake sauce, and I'll put the shiitake sauce on for you. Okay. Yep. And just wait till you guys are finished. I'm just going to put it on mine.
Imogen will love you forever if you want her. Being served.
I don't know where she is. I think she's over at Sienna's.
I think she is too.
I
Yeah.
can hear rumbling and guffling across the hallway.
Okay, so now if you want this sauce more saucy, of course you can add more liquid, you could even blend it up. But if you like that sort of chunky texture of the shiitakes, you can just kind of ladle that over the top of your veg. Yes, Kim, I see you are ready.
Yeah, she's at Sienna's.
Yep.
Okay.
Alrighty. Oh, don't forget the crust, please.
I like
Okay, so shiitake's on top. Now this is quite
Don't think
gingery.
at all.
video.
wasn't You're getting another piece. You cheated, dummy.
That was deliberate, I just know
It
it.
was too.
Okie dokie.
So nice.
Good.
You won't get
That was mission.
Shiitake sauce.
Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you.
And for Mitch.
Well, the sauce is hot, Mitch. Watch out.
Oh, this is lovely.
Smell the ginger.
Yeah,
And the rice wine.
How are you coping with that ginger there, Vicky? I know it's not your favourite. It's alright. There we go.
Ginger's something I've taught myself to love.